welcome to Sarah's Stamping Retreat. Today we're going to be using different stenciling techniques to create some really cute Christmas cards using this gift that comes free with this month's Creative Stamping magazine. So you get this stencil that's got the whooshes and the snowflakes and the stars and things, and then we've got this really big A4 stamp set that has loads of really nice like penguin and snowman stamps. You can see on that side they've got some ideas for how you can use them. So for my first card, I'm going to stencil some snowflakes into background and we're going to heat emboss them. So I'm going to take this block and I'm going to pop some drops of VersaFine re-ink onto it. And then I'm going to grab my stencil and I'm just going to use the snowflakes part of the stencil and just dab some of the VersaMark ink through it. So then I've got my Wow Superfine opaque bright white embossing powder. I'm going to put that all over my snowflakes. So I'm going to heat those up. So then we've got this pretty background. So then I've stamped this Let It Snow here, and I've also put this I'm so glad we're friends underneath. And you'll see that this has a curve to it, but I don't want it curved. So I just bent it like this, and then I put it on my acrylic block like this, and then you can stamp it so that it's straight. And that's the nice thing about acrylic stamps. You can kind of mould them a little bit. You'll also notice I've coloured this using my Ultra Artist markers, but I've gone around it with a marker called Arctic, and that is because that's the one that best matches the background that we've already done, so that when I cut this out I don't have to go like into here and cut it right against the edges to make it look nice. I'm just going to leave a border around, but the blue will help it to blend into the background. So then I'm going to cut around this, and because I don't have to cut right next to the image, it's going to make it easier to cut out. And then if I put that on there, you can see that this outline blends really nicely into this background. So I'm just going to pop these up on some foam pads. So then I've got this sequin mix, which is Vanilla Kiss by Little Things from Lucy's Cards. And I'm just going to dot some of those around. And do all different sizes. And there's some like dome ones and some kind of faceted ones, so I'm going to use a bit of a mixture. So then there's that card finished, really nice and sparkly in the background now. So then for my next card, I'm going to make a sky background. So I've got an A6 card blanks that is 4 1/8 by 5 7/8 inches, and I've got these fresh dye inks from Ultimate. So I've got Water Hyacinth, Alpine Aster, Crystal Violet, Indigo Skies, and I'm just going to start from the lightest at the bottom and build up to the darkest at the top. And really I'm going to do quite a bit of this like lighter colour because most of this bottom part is going to be covered. I'm going to make some hills, so I'm going to cover most of this bottom bit up, so the real colour is only going to start about halfway up. And I'm just going to do them from lightest to darkest. And then I'm going to go back through the lighter colours. I made a mistake here, but that's okay because I'm going to cover that with some white cardstock. So then this time I want to use the snowflakes again to make the sky, but I'm going to use an ink lifting technique to do it. So I've got a sponge dauber and I've put some water on it and then kind of squeezed it out a little bit, and I'm just going to pop that onto my stencil. You can see it just lifts some of that ink from beneath, and you'll notice you get kind of like abstract look, a bit more kind of almost like a little bit tie-dye, because the water obviously soaks around the stencil as well. Then I've got these two pieces of cardstock and I'm just going to cut them into like hills. I want one hill kind of coming down like this and one hill going the opposite way like that. So I'm literally just freehand cutting them. And in actual fact I didn't actually need the other piece of cardstock at all. I'm just using this piece this way. But what I want to do first is to make these into glitter cardstock. So I don't have any white glitter cardstock at the moment, so what I'm going to do is make my own. And to do that I'm just going to cover these with some sticky ink. And then I'm going to use this Wow Clear Sparkle embossing glitter. So I'm literally just going to cover these with that. So now I've got these pieces of glitter cardstock, which is really cool. And also because it's a clear glitter and it's iridescent, then you can put it on any colour of cardstock to get glitter cardstock of that colour. So then I'm going to glue this piece onto my card. And then I'm going to pop up this one that goes the other way. And then I've got the cute little penguins that I've coloured that I can add onto there. And then I want a little sentiment down here as well. And for this one I'm just going to go with the simple Happy Christmas. And I'm just going to heat emboss that with some black embossing powder just to give it a little bit more impact. So I'm going to use the primary Ebony Superfine from Wow. And like I've said before, I always try to use the Superfine embossing powders for sentiments because they give a much better look. So then I've just cut this out using this, which is the smallest of these modern oval dies from Spellbinders. I really like this as a layering set. I use it all the time because I really like that it's got the ones like I've just used that are smaller for sentiments, and then these big ones which I've used to make whole card fronts and like everything in between. So then I'm going to pop my sentiment and my penguins all up on foam pads. Then there's that card done. We've got this cool kind of like effect in the background, and I love that that ink lifting gives that kind of almost tie-dye effect, and then the nice sparkly foreground. So I really like how that's turned out. So then for my next card, I want to cut an aperture and have like a star border around the outside. So I'm going to do the star border first so that I can cut the aperture into the cardstock. So I'm going to pop my star stencil there, and I'm just going to pop some sticky ink through there. And then I'm going to cover that in polished gold Superfine embossing powder. And again, this is another Wow one. So then we've got this really cool starry border. So I want to cut an aperture into the middle of here. So I'm going to use one of my layering circle dies to do that. And then I'm also going to take this one that I've just used to cut that out, and the one that is 2 sizes larger, and I'm going to just take these together and then use them to cut a frame from some gold foil cardstock. Then I'm going to glue my gold frame around the aperture. So then I've got this guy to go inside. So I want this bottom to look like snow. So I'm just going to add a 2-inch strip of white cardstock to the bottom on the inside here. And then I can add him, but I want to make sure it's central on here. So I'm just going to cut around here. So then I'm going to glue my snowman like that so he comes through the centre of the card. And you'll notice that on the snowman as well, I've outlined him again in blue. So that's the sapphire pen from Altenew I've used to outline that, just so that it matches back into the background. And then I've got this snowman fall from heaven unassembled sentiment, and I'm going to heat emboss it in gold. So I'm using the same gold embossing powder as I used for the stars. And then I'm going to use another one of these modern oval dies from Spellbinders to cut this out. So this is the one, just one size bigger from the last one I used. And then I'm also going to use the one size bigger than that to cut a piece from gold cardstock to back it with. So then I can glue those two together. And then that's ready to go on there. I'm going to pop it up with some foam pads. I'm going to put the foam pads towards the bottom of the sentiment because it's going to overlap that gap a little bit. And then there's that card done. So for this next card, I want to do some masking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the stars part of the mask and this citrus burst ink from Altenew, and I'm just going to blend the ink through the stencil. And I really like these little blending brushes from Altenew for this. Then I'm going to stamp my sentiment at the bottom. So I chose that snow body warms my heart like you. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the stamps from the set, and I'm just going to stamp over the stars. So it's going to be a bit rough, but just adds a little bit of detail. And you can see that this large one isn't actually the right size for the star, but I think just stamping it kind of adds a bit of detail anyway. So then I'm going to do some masking. I'm going to use this Gina K Masking Magic for my masking. And the first thing I'm going to do is just mask a bit of the bottom off because I want that to stay white for the snow. And then I want to stamp a load of stars because I want to mask off the stars. So I'm going to stamp a whole heap of stars onto the masking paper. Then I'm going to cut these out, and I'm going to be quite careful to stay right on the lines when I'm cutting them out, because otherwise we're going to get white gaps around our stars. And now that I've cut out all these masks, I can peel the backing off and I can stick them over the stars that are on my card. So it does take a bit of a time to cut out all these stars, but once they're done, you can use them over and over. So when I make masks, I like to store them with the stamp sets that they relate to. So when I'm done, I'm just going to stick them on the back of the stamp set, and then whenever I want to do masking with them again, then they're just there ready for me. So now that I've got all those stars masked off, then I want to add on my colour. So I'm going to start off with the Crystal Violet. And then I'm going to add in some Indigo Skies towards the top. So then I can peel off my masks and add them to the back of my stamp set for next time. I think it's really nice peeling them off and seeing like the nice bright stars underneath. I can move this mask and show that kind of snow at the bottom. And then I'm just going to use this sapphire pen just to go around the edge of this to help it blend into the background a bit more. then I'm going to pop these up on some foam heads. Now I'm just going to trim that bit off the side. And so then we've got this really fun card too. So for this final card, I've got a 4¼ by 5½ inch Glacier card blank. It's the Glacier cardstock from Spellbinders. I'm going to start by stamping my scene. And then I kind of want to use this swoosh kind of behind the snowman to kind of show that he's kind of swooshing forwards. So I'm going to attach this on, and I'm just using some of that masking that I used for that earlier card, just the strip, just to mask off the bits that I don't want and to hold it down. And then I'm just going to pounce some of my sticky ink through that kind of swoosh. And then I want to heat emboss that with bright white embossing powder. And then I want to heat emboss this in white, but then I want to add some glitter. So I'm going to have this clear sparkle ready. I'm going to put it over here with the lid off. So I want to heat emboss this and then immediately pour over some of the clear sparkle. So now then, some of that clear sparkle has attached to the original embossing powder. So let's just heat that up. So now we've got this nice sparkly trail coming out behind him. And then I'm going to use my Wow embossing pen to just add some embossing ink to the bottom of this. And I'm going to use my white embossing powder to emboss that. And again, I want to cover that in clear sparkle before it cools down. Then I'm going to pop this Snowman Melt Your Heart up here. I'm going to do that in black ink. And then I'm going to use a mixture of my gel pens, these are all Sakura Jelly roll pens, and my alcohol markers to colour them. The reason that I'm using gel pens as well is because I'm going on to a blue base. By using like the white gel pen, I can get a nice kind of snowy look to the snowman. And also some of them are like glittery, so you get really nice effects with them. And then where the embossing powder has gone over some of these lines from my stamp, I'm just going to fill them back in with a fine liner pen. And then I've got these iridescent sequins that I'm just going to kind of scatter all over the background to make it look like snow. And so there's that one finished, really fun. So then there are all 5 of today's cards. Let me know in the comments which is your favourite. I hope you've enjoyed all the different stenciling techniques that we've used. If you like this video, I'd really appreciate you clicking the thumbs up button below, and you can also press subscribe if you'd like to see future videos. If you press the bell button and select all, then YouTube will also notify you when I've got a new video available. All of the products that I've used for today's cards are listed in the description below, and there's also a link there to my blog where you can find a picture supply list if that helps you find what you're looking for. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you again soon.